Hey, what's up guys, it's the Uchiha here, back with another part of what if Naruto was in a political marriage. And last time we left off when Naruto and the gang was at the ball held by the daimyos, and they were attacked by Akatsuki, and Naruto lost his arm while Temari lost her leg, and Uchiha was comforting Naruto, and this is where we left off, and we're going to continue from there on. Before continuing this, if you haven't, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content of this channel. And without further ado, let's continue our story. They stayed in that position for a while. It was comforting to Naruto. He had just lost something vitally important to him and didn't know how to respond to it. At least he had Uchiha to help him, even if that help was just holding him tight and not leaving him. Should I wake the others? Uchiha finally asked. No, let them rest. Uchiha hummed. We should rest too, come on. She fell to the softness of the mattress with her husband encircled in her arms. They fell asleep, and almost as soon as they hit the pillow, there was a small smile dusting Yuji's lips. Link break. For the first time in a very long time, all 10 members of the Akatsuki were in one place. At one time, well, all 9 members and a corpse that looked virtually Hidan-like. They were all hide out in a well-lit cave next to a Gedo statue with the 10 pillars that they were all supposed to stand on to begin the extraction process. This wasn't the case, however, as there was nothing to extract, so they just settled for sitting in a group somewhere behind the pillars. Does someone want to tell me what happened? Pain asked. Deidara let loose a long exasperated sigh. I did my part. Lost a week's worth of exploding clay too. Itachi stood up next. Things did not go as planned, Leader Sama. This plan that they all took a part of was one of the only plans that had all 6 of the main battle Akatsuki plus one of their spying members take part in it. By Pain's point of view, it was needed. The person that they were trying to capture was Yagura of the Hidden Mist, a Kage level shinobi who also had the Sambi sealed into him at an unknown age. His battle power was unknown, but it must have been huge considering that he was able to go toe to toe with Mei of the Kakegenkai rebels without even having to resort to using his tail beast. Considering his strength, even without the tail beast for support, they had to spring a trap that would eliminate that supporting entirely. When he had been keeping an eye on him for several months, Zetsu found out that Yagura went to every single one of the Water Daimyo's party functions, so they decided to spring the trap with the next one that he went to. That way he wouldn't be able to transform into a fully tailed beast. Sorcery distilled a mixture of an abrasive sediment and a flavorless venom that would knock out anyone who drank it, who wasn't a Jinchuriki. Hidan posed as a band member, Itachi, Deidara and Kakasu all posed as waiters. Zetsu was in charge of crowd control from his position as a fern. Kisame hid out in the water tank, and Sasori got a few of his rather unique marble puppets to come by to make sure that the mixture got distributed properly. Because they did not know the extent of Yagura's ability, a plan came forward of having a tag-in type battle. Each Akatsuki member would face Yagura at one point in order to ascertain his combat powers. Then they would exhaust him and knock him out. Painless, effective and fast. That was what it was supposed to be, except Zetsu never heard that the members of the political alliance were coming. Midway through the insurrection, the members all came by, which threw a wrench in the works of the whole operation. Itachi made the executive decision to go along the mission and try for a diplomatic solution with the 6. That didn't work out. The plan turned out to be a fiasco. Yagura was never in any danger of being caught. They were heavily injured by the members of the alliance, most of all Hidan, who still wasn't reforming. And now they probably pissed off Leader Sama. How exactly didn't they go as planned?" Pain asked. Itachi went through the points of the operation without missing a single detail. Pain was silent for several moments before asking questions. "Why isn't he done reforming?" Kakuzu answered. "His body usually reforms on its own when all parts are put in a jumble, but his head needs to be here. Without it, we're just taking care of a jumble of body parts." "And where is his head?" Pain asked Deidara. "I picked up as much as I could without getting bifurcated by the bug Jinchuriki. Yeah, I guess I missed the head." Pain ground into his hand. "Get rid of that stinking corpse." "Hi," Toby shouted out for the first time this meeting. "Who invited Toby?" Deidara asked Sasori. The childish nin in question was gathering up all the corpse part and carrying them outside. "He's just kind of invites himself," Sasori said gruffly. "Looks like we're down an Akatsuki member," Pain said. "Do any of you have any ideas as to who would be a good replacement?" "Toby knows." Deidara smirked at Kakuzu. "Looks like you got a new partner." Before Kakuzu could groan in frustration, Pain interrupted. "Did any of you at least get any intel on Yagura or the other Jinchuriki? Yujiro ni, the two-tailed, is capable of sensing me without the need of her eyes. My combat ability is significantly hampered by this. That Yagura guy is strong enough as he is. He never even had to use the tail beast when we were fighting." "Yeah. Or me," Black Zetsu said. Kisame made muffled grunts from off to the side. His face had taken a serious pounding from his fight with Naruto. It was still covered in bandages, even with the healing power of having nearly a tail beast worth of chakra stored in his sword. Pain looked at him with his same unamused eyes. "Well, we'll ask you later. Anything else?" "Who fought the Nana Beast Jinchuriki?" "Hiran did." "Did anyone see anything new?" "She seems to have a good hold of her Jinchuriki's power, even at the age she's at," Black Zetsu rasped out. "She's capable of initiating flight using chakra wings." "That might cause some unwanted situation in the future," Pain said. "What about the other members of the Alliance?" Conan asked. "Are they going to be a threat in the future?" "May definitely is. She's the leader of the rebel after all." "Yeah," Deidara said. "Temari of the desert is a rather accomplished wind user, but I might have crippled her for life, so I don't think she'll be too much of a threat." Pain sent a pointed look towards Kakuzu, who shrugged in return. "The Korotsuchi girl doesn't look like she's going to be too much of a problem in the future," Sasori said. "She was just barely able to avoid or destroy my marble puppets, and they had absolutely no combat functionalities in them." Pain nodded. "We're going to let the Sanbi stew for a bit. Deidara and Sasori are going back on the Yonbi. Itachi and Kisame look for the lead on Rokubi. Kakuzu and Toby, hi, do some contract work." "Toby going to do some really good contract work. Isn't that great, Kakuzu-senpai?" Kakuzu settled for glaring at the energetic man. He had been annoying the living daylight out of everyone's ever since he showed up at their meeting about 2 months ago. "Yes, Toby," he said in a strained voice. "We're going to do some really good contract work." With that settled, the members of the Akatsuki dispersed to do their various tasks. "Oh, and Kakuzu," Pain said, "make sure that you didn't kill this partner." "No promises," he mumbled to himself. Toby started bounding towards the exit, devoid of any worry that his partner would decapitate him in his sleep. No worries at all. Link break. On the ground in front of Matatabe and Kurama was sleeping Yujito and Naruto. Naruto was being held by Yujito, who had a cute smile gracing her features. Matatabe looked at the two with what could only be described as a smile. "What are you grinning about, cat?" "Oh, do be quiet. You might wake them." Kurama growled quietly at the large cat. "What are you grinning about?" Kurama asked again, albeit slightly quieter. "Oh, I don't know. It's nice that they're getting along like this, isn't it?" "I wouldn't care. Now, would I?" Matatabe laughed quietly at the reaction from the large fox. "It's fun. She's never been so happy as when she's with Naruto." "So what? She's a Shotakon." "Oh? Do I sense some interest in humans from you?" Kurama didn't so much as blink from the accusation. "It's not that. You just won't shut the fuck up about these petty humans. I have no choice but to involve myself if I'm ever going to get you to shut up. You say that, but I think that you really like your human, Matatabe said with a jeering confidence. Would it surprise you if I said that I didn't? I hate humans. There has not been one human in this world who has looked at me like another person. No. I've always been a source of power, a thing in the context of atomization, not a thing in context of me not having a gender. Matatabe started purring. The soft humming seemed to have an effect on the embarrassed humans in that they started snuggling closer together. Are you sure? I don't know. He seems a little bit like Asura to me. Asura was nice to us. Well, first of all, he's nothing like Asura. Second of all, Asura wasn't human. Oh, come off it. Asura was a human, as any human alive today. I don't care if he held himself a different way, or talked to people differently, or held the 9 most powerful living things inside his body for a while. He was a human, and I loved him. We all loved him. You loved him. He was like the older brother none of us had. And you want to tell me that humans today are like the humans of yesterday? No. They fight and kill and grab everything for their own selfish greed. They see anything that's more powerful than them as something they couldn't be alive or cognizant because, of course, they are the most powerful things in the world. They are ignorant and stupid. I can't believe that you allowed yourself to be aligned with them. Matatabe smirked at Kurama. You want to tell me that Naruto, sweet little Naruto-kun, thinks you are a thing in the context of atomization? That's you're only good as a power source, as a battery? The only reason he still calls you Kyuubi is because you didn't want him to call you Kurama. Kurama grumbled to itself incoherently. You know, I really do care for him. You were a dick to the rest of us for the longest time, but you're still family to us. I want to see you happy. Why can't you get along with Naruto? Is it because you're afraid that he'll abuse your power, that he'll turn his back on you? It's none of your business. The humans in front of it began squirming with agitated looks on their face. Matatabe started purring to calm him down. The reason that I'm not going to befriend him is because he doesn't deserve it. Not only that, but I plan on getting my freedom. If that's going to happen, he's going to have to die. Matatabe almost laughed at the entity in front of him. Freedom? That's what you want. I'm free. So is Yuki, and so is Chaume. We're all free. What are you talking about? How can you be free when you're trapped inside your humans? I'm not trapped inside my humans. I can take control of her body and experience the world for myself if I want to. With her permission, of course. If I wanted to. I could override the control she has over me and get out of her body. You can? Then why wouldn't you? Matatabe walked away from her cell over the sleeping humans and stopped directly in front of the cage that held the Kyuubi away, because that would kill her. I love her, and I want to protect her as much as I can. Kurama was stricken speechless as Matatabe walked away from the fox and to its original position. I know that you've been let down before, Kurama, but you have to know that there are a lot of people out there who care for you. People who want to see you happy. People who won't abuse your power. People who love you. With that said, Matatabe closed her eyes and stepped next to the sleeping humans. A single tail fell on top of them, covering them with the sense of warmth and protection that only a mother would be able to give. It stretching itself out and fell down next to the dormant humans, ready to fall asleep as well. Kurama looked at the three with a sore look on his face. I don't need love. I don't need your passion. I don't need your hopes and dreams. But most importantly, I don't need you. At some point in your life, you're going to see that you really do. Oh, and can you refer to me using female pronouns for now on? I think I like the thought of being that gender. But you can't be that gender. You don't have any sexual organs. Sexual organs don't donate genders. Only what we feel does. I feel like a female. How would you know that? What it feels like to be a female? Because I'm allowed to. When I'm human, of course. You should try it sometimes. The Kyuubi stalked away from the three sleeping people and curled up into the ball. Nine Tails fell on top of the curled up fox. They were its security blanket. They were what helped it sleep at night. The Nine Tails helped comfort the Kyuubi as it tried to get some sleep. But for some reason, no sleep came for the malignant beast. No sleep came from the coagulation of chakra. No sleep came for the very definition of hatred itself. Because for the first time in a very long time, a person who had been scorned for most of its life, a person who was capable of intelligent, cognizant thought, a person who had feelings and hopes and dreams, felt lonely. Kurama, the person, felt lonely. It wasn't a pleasant feeling at all. Link break. Naruto's eyes shot open to see the room exactly where he left it, with one small detail different. Who? Naruto asked grogingly. The girl was in the process of trying to shake Yuichiro awake without accidentally rousing Naruto from his sleep. This failed on both accounts, however, as Yuichiro was still sleeping soundly with her arms tightly encircled around Naruto's torso, and Naruto was trying to rub the sleeping out of his eyes using only one hand. Naruto-san, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to wake you up. I know that this... He was cut off. Who are you? The girl he was looking at was Fu, but it wasn't her. Fu's skin tone had changed almost imperceptibly darker. Well, not darker, just as if a tad of navy blue was diluted into her normal tan tone. Her voice had also changed to become raspier, and the orange in her eyes had overtaken the sclera, making them pools of worry. This isn't exactly how I thought would meet in real life, but my name is Chaume. I'm the Seven Tails Kabuto Mushi. Right now, Fu's allowing me to control her body. Oh, Naruto said in realization. I didn't know that Biju could take control of Jinchuriki. We can, but the Jinchuriki has to give them their say-so. There also has to be a lot of trust involved, because if I want to, I could escape through the seal, killing her in the process. But, isn't there something a bit more pressing for you right now? She asked, gesturing to the stump that made up Naruto's left arm. Naruto looked at it disinterestedly. Yeah, I woke up a bit ago. I was definitely shocked, but at least Yuichiro was here. Naruto said with a melancholy smile. Oh, that's a relief. We just thought that Yuichiro snuck into your room to sleep with you like last time. Like last time? That doesn't matter now, Chaume said quickly. Temari is about to wake up, so we thought that Yuichiro should be there too. Seeing as you're awake as well, you should probably come as well. Naruto nodded. Okay. Hear that, Yuichiro? Time to get up. Naruto managed to pry Yuichiro's arms off of him and get into the sitting position. The cat Jinchuriki grumbled in her sleep but remained dormant. Naruto yawned wildly. Come on, Yuichiro. Naruto proceeded to poke Yuichiro in her belly until she finally opened her eyes. Temari woke up. We got to be there for her, remember? Yuichiro groaned far more audibly and began to stretch herself out. What time is it? She asked. About 2 in the afternoon, Chaume answered. Yuichiro took notice of Fu's body in the room for the first time. Fu, what's wrong with you? I'm Chaume. Pleased to meet you. Yuichiro took the new development in stride. Hello, Chaume. How's it feel to be able to move? It feels nice. A little bit disoriented because I don't have 4 pairs of legs. But it's nice to walk around and talk to people. Though I suppose that I should let Fu take over in a little bit when you all go and talk to Temari-san. Yuichiro finished stretching and sat up, looking good for the most part, if a little bit tired. You have some time. So how did everyone react to the news? The Kage and Mei were kind of guarded about it, but Kotsuchi didn't seem to mind from the beginning. Everyone is okay with it now that I'm explained it to them. Granny's here too? Naruto asked. The Kage left about 30 minutes ago and are now in a meeting with the daimyo. But yes, all the Kages are here in hospital right now. We should really get going. The news that Temari was awakening was rather urgent. Yuichiro and Naruto nodded. Chaume went through a rather strange change when all the navy blue tingle in her skin descended to her upper back and the orange in her eyes went back into her irises. Naruto? Fu asked. Her face brightened considerably once she realized who she was standing in front of and immediately pulled him into a tight hug. "You're okay!" Naruto returned the gesture with his one arm. "Yeah, I'm okay. Actually, I feel great. The same, just a little bit different." Fu laughed into his hair. It was a relieved laugh, almost as if she was expecting him to have changed horribly from the loss of limb. "Come on," Yusto said. "Temari's waking up." "She is? Couldn't you tell?" "I was taking a nap and said okay when Xiaomi asked to move around for a bit." "I guess that makes sense. Now come on." Xiaomi said it was urgent. Fu nodded and obediently followed Yusto out of the room, never leaving Naruto's side. Once they cleared the room and hallway, they entered an open area that was full of seats, only occupied by Akatsuki. She looked up and promptly assumed the facial expression on one takes when hit in the face with a shovel. "Naruto?" Naruto waved back at her half-heartedly. She stood up on shaking legs and approached him carefully. Your arm." Naruto chuckled nervously. "Yeah, it's gone." He didn't really know what to say to her in regards to his arms. Tears began batted up in her eyelids and her lips began to tremble. Akatsuki wrapped Naruto in rather light hug, making sure not to touch or agitate the nub of Naruto's left arm. Naruto hugged her back. The fact that his left arm wasn't responding and in the process of being wrapped around his despondent girlfriend was horribly strange to him. The door opened to waiting room and two people walked out of it. One was Kankuro and who had shed his war paint, probably a good thing considering the amount of sweat proliferating on his face. The other was a medicine wearing a baggy smoke, looking slightly less shaken up than his puppeteer counterpart. "She's okay for visitors now, but please don't crowd her and keep in mind that she's not entirely there due to the painkillers," the medicine said. "Oh, and Naruto," Kankuro said before pulling out a wooden arm from his inner clothing. He walked over to Naruto and attached it to his thumb with a satisfying clink sound. "I'm not done with your prosthetic yet, so you'll have to deal with Gaara's." Naruto began moving his new arm around, tracking its movement through the air as he directed it with his will. "This is exactly like my old arm." "Wait, Gaara's? When did he lose an arm?" "He didn't. I have limbs stored for all my family members in case any of them have complications with their originals. What you have on you is a prosthetic made for domestic use. I collaborated with a sealing master to make sure that the chakra that flows through the arm is able to send signals to the chakra in the brain, telling it what you feel and don't feel through the process of nerve pantomime. You have limbs prepared and pre-made for both Temari and Gaara? Hey, without those limbs, neither you or nor Temari would be able to get the functionality that you normally would have if you had waited for a replacement limb. If they're connected with the tissue soon enough after the incident, then they're able to implant their unique chakra signatures as your limb to your brain, allowing for more accurate chakra to brain interaction. Naruto waved it around experimentally a few more times. "Wait, I get this latching thing. Then does that mean that I can attach any prosthetic I want? I guess. So why does Temari have to have hers grafted on?" "Temari and I went over it a few years ago. In case something like this ever happened, the leg is harder to create a latch mechanism for and have to work correctly. So Temari wished to have a specific leg prosthetic attached so she could maximize usefulness with it." "Wait," Yuto said. "You made these a few years ago. How does it fit Naruto and Temari? Those should be tiny." Kankuro lifted Naruto's fake arm and tapped the underside. In a few places, the plate that made up the arm moved and expanded slightly. The arms had grown a few inches almost instantly. They are made to scale up with their users. Naruto shifted his arms around again. "This is so trippy." He smiled boldly at Akatsuki. "Looks like it wasn't a big deal after all." After wiping the tears from her eyes, she punched him in the forearm. of his prosthetic. Ow, that hurts! The domestic ones have the functionality to stimulate pain. The compact ones doesn't. Kankuro said before lifting Naruto's arm once more and shrinking it in size. Why do you do that? Naruto asked Kankuro. Testing process. She said. Naruto asked Kurtsuchi. Testing purposes. Testing purposes. She said mischievously. Naruto half glared at her. But at least you aren't all sad now. It's weird seeing you that way. All sad and stuff. I'm allowed to be sad when my dearest husband gets his right arm chopped off. Anyways, Kankuro said, Temari is good for visitors. Don't stay too long. Don't tire her out. And push the purple button if you need me. After giving the explanations, Kankuro left the four to enter at their own discretion. The room that Temari was in differed from Naruto's own room, only in that the walls were smoothed down to a shine and that there were more machines beeping and humming around her. Temari was asleep in the bed, dozing away. There was no sheets covering her, only the hospital smoke, which didn't conceal the prosthetic limb at all. Naruto listlessly traced the curvature of the limb while he waited for her to wake up. She looked so peaceful, Fu commented. Kurtsuchi poked her in the stomach. Oi, Stoic-chan, wake up already. Don't, you still want. I was promised as a touching reunion between man, wife and sister-wife. I don't have the patience nor the energy to wait anymore. She began poking. Temari left breast. Come on, braless, Stoic-chan. Everyone's waiting. These actions accusing a smattering of blushes of Naruto and Fu while annoying Yusto greatly. Eventually, Temari groaned and swatted lethargically at the hand poking her breast. Shut up. Stop it. She slurred out. Hey, Temari. Wake up. It's your favorite sister, wives, and husband, Kurtsuchi said with a grin on her face. The action caused Temari to eventually crack her eyes open and survey the scenery around her. Oh, hey, guys. Sleepy ground. How's it going? Sorry about that. I was just trying to, Oh well. We're asking you that. Yusto said softly. How do you feel? Temari pulled herself up in sitting position and looked tiredly at the smoke in front of her. Horny. She started finally. Horny? Yusto repeated. Horny. She began fumbling with the pad to her right. On it were a couple of buttons of varying color. She pressed the purple button. Yusto caught her hand and laid it gently to her side. I don't think you should do that. Naruto leaned in to Fu. Didn't Kankuro say that he'll come if someone pushes the purple? He was cut off. Is something wrong? Kankuro asked as he walked in through the door. I'm horny, Temari said helplessly. Get your sister her phone. It's under her mattress. Kankuro was silent for a solid 3 seconds before sighing into his hand. Don't mind her, she's just loopy, is all. I gathered that. Thanks, Yusto remarked. When the bed-bounded Konoichi saw that Kankuro was walking out of her room, she shouted out after him. Get the one called Shinobi Tactics! The one with the anvil! Yusto immediately started to shush her as her voice might have been heard in the other compartments of the hospital. Kurtsuchi was doubled over the silent laughter, while Naruto and Fu were trying their best to not let their own roars of laughter spew from their blushing faces. The one with the aim, Kurtsuchi repeated with no noise coming from her mouth. Fucking priceless. Yusto looked at the three with disapproving eyes. You three are children. Kurtsuchi pointed at confused Temari. Don't try to tell me that's not funny. Temari began to slowly count the shinobi in the room with her. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the one? The one with the giant boobies. Mei-sama. Mei-sama is in a meeting with the other Kages right now, Yuto replied. I'm sorry that she couldn't be here. Temari pouted to herself. Hey Naruto, she said to herself. Yes, honey, he asked, finally calming down. Don't those boobs just make you wanna? Temari said, groping motion with her hands. Squeeze them. Kurtsuchi was almost on the ground at this point. I should have brought a camera. Temari after surgery is the best thing in the world. Naruto chuckled a little bit at the not all to their Konoichi in front of him. No, Temari, I can't say that. I feel they want to squeeze my breast. Ha! Okay. She drawled out. Naruto began cracking up at the accusation used to cut it. Hey, Temari, do you remember the ball at all? The mission? Temari looked back down at her smoke and removed the bottom portion from herself. Fearing the worst, Yusto immediately put Temari's wandering hands back at her sides and put the smoke back in her. Temari laughed to herself a little bit. Yeah, it only cost an arm and a leg too. So you know what happened. Temari began to rub absent-mindedly at her face. My face? Is it all gunked? She asked Yusto. No, honey. They fixed your face. Temari threw her hand in the mid-air with a mighty whoop of joy. I can get married now. Yusto put Temari's arm to her side once again. You're already are, honey. I am? She asked, bewildered. Is he hot? She asked eerily. Kurotsuchi nudged Naruto's side. He's the hottest, she said, causing him to blush quickly. Where is he? He's right here, Kurotsuchi said, presenting Naruto to flourish. Temari looked over at him slowly and tried to grin seductively at the plot. Under the influence of the painkiller, she just ended up with a very strange look on her face. Hey, beautiful, she said to Naruto. Why don't you say we got out of this joint and go make some babies? Kurotsuchi resumed silently, laughing. You heard her. Get to baby making. She got out, clapping Naruto on the back. Come here, stud, Temari said with a beckoning wave. Naruto, not sure of what to do, approached the bed closer. Yes, Temari. Temari grabbed Naruto by the waist and pulled him onto the bed with her. You're warm, she said dreamily. Do we need to give you two lovebirds some alone time? Kurotsuchi asked. Very funny. Naruto said he tried to pry her arms off of him, but for a barely cognizant girl who just went through surgery, she was crazy strong. Temari, let go, I have things to do. Temari instead brought him closer to her and whispered in her ear, let's make some babies. Naruto looked helplessly at Yuto, who only returned a slightly amused look. Oh, so now it's funny? Yes, honey, she said sarcastically. Now it's funny. Great. Naruto tried to move his legs and get into a more comfortable position and accidentally brushed his legs against her legs. With a great expansion of air and mechanical sounds, Temari Prosthetic expanded into a huge fan and parallel to the ground. He used to immediately push the purple button, hoping that her leg didn't have any poisonous or toxic stuff that would shoot out of the wrong push of the button. While waiting for the puppeteer to arrive, Fu, Yuji and Kurotsuchi busied themselves with making sure either Naruto nor Temari made any sudden movements that would provoke a misfire. What is it this time? Kankuro drew silent after taking in the situation. He walked over with an urgent step and tapped a few seemingly random buttons on the upper thigh of her prosthetic turned fan. After the fan retracted into her leg, he reached to her ankle, took the entire foot off, clicked switches in the inverts of the mechanism and put it back on. Sorry, I forgot to put the safety on. The three holding Temari down glared at the puppeteer, but Temari only looked confusedly at him. Where's my porn? Chapter 27. The Concept. Link break. The atmosphere in the meeting room was tense. It was a small room, only one table that was surrounded comfortably by common kitchen appliances, a microwave, a toaster oven, a sink, cupboards holding all sort of paraphernalia, a room where the nurses would gather during breaks or off time from their busy and active shifts. This room was repurposed for the usage of 5 of the most powerful humans on the planet of the Earth, face of the planet, known as Earth. The 3 Kages, 1 acting Kage and 1 rebellion leader were crowded around the one circle table in the room. There used to be 5 more individuals, but they grew tired of the meeting and retreated to a more grandiose scene, whatever that meant. Without the diamonds to provide details to the argument, the room had grown rather quiet. There were a lot of bad feelings coming and going between the five, but none of them had any sort of outlet for getting rid of those bad feelings. The door to the break room opened and a woman with long blonde hair walked in. Even if her stature was less than those sitting at the table in front of her, she had an imposing presence in and for herself. "You called for me, right, Kage-sama?" she asked, not certain of what the need for her to be there was. "Actually, Yujitoni, I called for you," Tsunade said with a grave tone of voice. "Is there something I can help you with?" Tsunade provided a long, unrelenting sigh. "Yes, Yujito, we heard your documents from the what happened at the ball, but now we want to know why those things happened. I believe I made our intentions clear." "Humor me." "Well, we believe that we should help Yagura to escape from the Akatsuki due to the fact that there was a danger of the Sanbi getting extracted from him." "So you knew that there were several members of Akatsuki there, and yet you still engaged, even when of them gave you the express option of not engaging." "We were unsure of how many operatives were there. That's not the important thing here. What happened was that you engaged several, not just one or two, but several members of the Akatsuki, with the knowledge that only you, Mei, and arguably Fu were content fighters." Yuichito reluctantly nodded. "Yes, the plan was to finish our fight quickly to help out the members of our group, but you still let them fight head-on with the S-rank ninjas. We were under the assumption that they wouldn't be trying to kill us due to the fear that if they did, that the five nations would try their hardest to bring them down in retribution. And look at all the good that did. I didn't think that I need to remind you that both Naruto and Temari had to get rid of one of their limbs and have them removed. We're lucky that Baki here was awoke enough to tell us that they could be given suitable replacements in Suna. We're also lucky that Jiraiya had contact with the newly created Harishin Anbu squad. We're also lucky that the Akatsuki members seemed to think that we could feasibly take them down if we just tugged on our bootstrap and looked for them really hard. We're also lucky that Kankuro no Sabuka had created limbs for his family members in the event that they get their limbs drastically damaged in a mission." Yujito was silent. "Are you understanding a common theme here? We got lucky, and the most that lucky got us was both Naruto and Temari having to have amputations if anything worse happened. If the Akatsuki members didn't care enough to try and keep them alive, if Kankuro hadn't created those prosthetic beforehand, if Jiraiya wasn't awake in the time of contact, the Anbu squad, things could have been so much worse than they were. As it stands, you barely got away from the fight with the Akatsuki the first time you engaged them, and we were willing to write that off as an unknown mission parameter. I shudder to think what could have happened if you engaged them again. Akatsuki was legally dead for 5 minutes the first time she interacted with them. Fu got hit with an explosive at point blank range. You just recently got stabbed through the abdomen, and Temari and Naruto, well, you know what happened to them. Is there a point with all of this?" Tsunade bro flew upon her hands for sporting, prompting Onuki to step in. "The alliance isn't looking too good. There have been suggestions by the daimyos to get rid of it entirely and go back to the ways things were. And truth to be told, it isn't unfound from them to want to." "What do you mean by that?" "The joint training camps in shambles. It seems that the citizens and shinobi aren't too enthused with the idea of trading alongside the people they considered their enemies for years and years. The trading routes, the daimyo can't seem to settle on areas where new trading routes can be established due to the fact that they all want the largest slice of the pie. You're not aware of this, but the amount of ninjas going rogue has risen exponentially. 4 of the ninjas villages, and it is suspected to be the same for the hidden mist as well." Yusho looked around the room once more. "Where is he?" "Don't know. He thanked us all for the support he received and walked out of the ballroom. We haven't heard of him. We haven't heard of anything from him since then." Yujito let all that knowledge sink in. So, what do we have to do in order to stop the alliance from falling apart? In a word, get people to get along with each other, make the leaders of nations act selflessly, and work together towards a common goal. Basically, make sure people ditch the concept of human nature. We can do that. And how will you do so? You just smirked at the old man. I know of a person who has managed to get 5 hostile konoichis of different nations to work together under a common goal. Very smart. Naruto. The brat? I asked. How is he going to change anything? He's a nice kid, I'm willing to admit, but he can possibly do anything of that skill. I'm willing to bet that he can, right, Kage-sama? How do you propose use him to do that? Yuito placed her hands on the table for support. That depends. I'm going to need all the information possible on everything that causing problem for alliance. As this is where I'm going to be leaving this part of, guys. I hope you like this one. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And I hope you like the new series What If Naruto the Blonde's Future. It's basically the reaction series of, you can say, Minato Kushina team's previous team 7 of Kakashi Obito and Rin, Mikoto and Fugaku, and as well as Inoichi Vagara. Basically Konoha, previous Konoha 12 alongside Hiruzen and Sanins. That's what the series is, and a few more things and interaction of Naruto between his parents. Overall, it's just basically reaction to Naruto. I hope you enjoyed the series as well, and this one as well. This is Apollo Uchiha, and I'm signing out. Peace.